And now I have some remarks to deliver, so I have to calm down here. Leadership is giving when you feel like keeping. It's praying for others when you need to be prayed for yourself. It's feeding others when your soul is hungry. It's living the truth before people even when you can't see the results. It's hurting with others when your own hurt can't be spoken. It's keeping your word when it's not convenient. It's being faithful when your flesh wants to run. Leadership is serving. As I began thinking about my remarks for today, I was inspired by those words from Dr. John Tetsola, who is president of Ecclesia World Ministries International. I decided to tell you a few stories of leaders I've known in my professional life, some examples of really good leadership and some not so much, but I did learn something from each and every one of them, and I've tried to apply that as I went forward. Leadership is giving when you feel like keeping. I had one leader in my life who was a great thinker and strategic planner. He was a mentor to me, and we had talked a lot about what I needed to do in my next job. My current role at that time was I was running an IT shop, and we had discussed the fact that I'd like to do some strategic planning. Well, when that opportunity arose, I began to experience some of that fear that Aline talked about this morning, and I was about to chicken out. And he said to me, very calmly, he said, "Adrian, this is what we've talked about. This is what you said you wanted. If you don't take this opportunity, it may never come around again." And for him, that was a pretty swift kick. I got the point, believe me. So I gathered my courage and went ahead and did that job, and it led to a difference in my career. I'll never know, of course, what it would have been otherwise. But it took energy and time for him to mentor me, time he could have easily spent focusing on his own career. Fortunately for me, he didn't do that. From him, I decided that when I could do so, I would mentor others and encourage them to take challenges in their careers. I've also known a strong leader who was a very different story, indeed. He was totally driven to compete, had incredible focus on the mission, demanded the best from his employees at all times, and really only surrounded himself with the very best performers. He built a very high-performing team, as you can imagine, but at the cost of personal lives and joy in work. He generated a level of stress and internal competition in that organization that I felt to be quite toxic. And he asked me when I was leaving the organization what I thought about the experience and the work that we'd done together, and I replied exhaustedly that it was a good experience, I learned a lot, but please don't ask me to do it again. From him, I learned that a good leader must have balance and must allow others to have balance in their lives as well. And a very current example, a woman leader in my organization told me just the other day that she had accomplished most things in her career just by being nice. And she discovered after working with me for a couple of years that wasn't the only way. Well, I thought she was saying something about my style, perhaps, I don't know. But the result is that she has discovered she can lead in a more direct way. She has the power to set expectations and to hold people accountable for the results. And she's still very nice. Leadership is feeding others when your soul is hungry. I knew a community group leader. She was executive director of a nonprofit organization, was wonderful at developing relationships, proselytizing the mission, and making everyone around her want to be a better person. She had a vision to build a new building in North Omaha to house her organization, which was, of course, short of money, and they were operating out of two very run-down and depressing kinds of buildings. Well, even her board thought she was in over her head and that she had no hope of making this project happen. But she had inspirational belief in the mission of her organization, wonderful people skills, and she was able to cultivate funding sources, motivate the community, and raise the money necessary. Today, there is a building standing right out there where lack of belief once stood. And from her, I learned that you can be a caring woman and still run a tight ship, and that inspiration and commitment can truly move mountains. Leadership is living the truth before people, even when you can't see the results. I had a boss at one time who saw potential in me and others and gave us an opportunity to learn and to grow. We were grateful for that, and that was his strength. But it may have been his only strength. His weakness was in knowing what he should do but lacking the courage or the insight in how to do it. He used to ask his staff for input on issues and ideas, knowing all the while he had already made up his mind. We soon figured that out and stopped providing very good input. All he saw were his own results, and his staff departed as soon as it was possible. From him, I learned the importance of straight talk, even when it's difficult to do. And I learned from the negative side how a leader's lack of courage can damage the whole team and ruin the vision. Leadership is hurting with others when your own hurt can't be spoken. My very first leader was, of course, my dad. The lump is back. He was an Iowa farmer, salt-of-the-earth kind of man. My mother was the manager of the household and probably actually managed Dad. But Dad was definitely the leader of the family. He was all about values, knowing right from wrong, and doing the right thing. He had no trouble at all clarifying expectations and holding us accountable for our performance. Dad had disappointments in life. He gave up his other plans in order to come back and save the family farm when it began to fail. And I think he wasn't exactly thrilled to have 3 daughters and no sons to help him with the farm. But after he got used to living in a household of women, he began to teach us the value of education, the importance of being self-sufficient. He said to me, "Adrian, I won't tell you what to do with your life, but for Pete's sake, develop a skill so you can take care of yourself." Not very profound, but good advice. It's amazing what he taught us without even talking about it. He demonstrated for us every day the value of hard work and resource stewardship, and my most favorite one, a nap after lunch. I never did figure out how to put that into work that into my schedule, but I think it's a heck of a good idea. From him, I learned the value of self-respect and self-reliance, the importance of reputation and doing the right thing. Leadership is keeping your word when it's not convenient. There was another corporate leader in my life who was a master communicator. He was a pro at managing expectations and perceptions, at managing relationships to get the results that he needed. He demonstrated the value of trust in his team and how to build trust as a leader and a follower. Frankly, he had to trust his team because he was a non-technical man in a very technical organization, and he needed the technical team to support him. But what he did was to bring forward the communication skill into that mix and developed a really strong team. For most leaders, taking the time and using that kind of energy to build a team and teach others is really not convenient, but he did it anyway. From him, I learned the value of managing communications and the need for trust as a critical piece of leadership. I learn daily from my colleagues at OPPD. They're over there somewhere kind of holding their breath at what I might say, but I'm going to be kind. They are indeed an incredible team of leaders, each with his or her own strengths, but their best characteristic is their integrity, and I'm lucky to work among them. Now you're probably thinking all these little stories are nice, but what's your point? Well, my message is that there is no magic bullet to leadership. Leaders can be very different. Each of us has to lead in our own way. One can focus on leading people or on managing the task at hand. One can focus on inside the company or outside in the community. Some use their skills to mentor and to coach, while others are better at just leading by example. You have opportunities to lead, each of you, and you don't have to be the boss to do it. You have opportunities to step out and show the way, or bring a team to consensus, or put together the plan. We are all constantly moving in and out of leadership opportunities. The point is that you can awaken the leader within and build on your strengths to serve as a leader for the betterment of your company, your family, your community, and your own life. I encourage you to practice leading. Grab an opportunity and step forward. Take a lead role, even for a small task or project. There is no better way to learn. It requires courage and preparation, but it can be very rewarding. And one final point, no one leads all the time. By that I mean everyone should demonstrate followership, and that means filling in the gaps, doing what the leader needs to be done, and supporting that individual in the effort. But that's another speech for another day. For today, it's truly been an honor to be co-chair this year. I've had an inside seat to marvel at all the hard work that goes into this day. Mary Prefontaine, ICAN staff, volunteers, thank you all so much. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day with ICAN. Thank you.